And I meet the two divers who are hoping to start the North Sea's first snorkel trail.
You wouldn't think that a hideous old sort of pipe would have so much life on it.
Revealing the stories that matter closer to home. That's tonight's Inside Out. On a windy autumnal day like today, the beach is a great place to come to blow away the cobwebs, and there's loads of our coast to explore. But it doesn't end at the shoreline. There's a whole other world beneath the waves, and discovering it for yourself is easier than you might think. It was the Victorians who made the seaside trendy. They built the railways that led them to the beaches, the piers and the promenades. It was the place to holiday. Of course, when you come to the beach in the 21st century, you can still see things that were here when the Victorians were paddling in the sea. I'm in Sheringham on the North Norfolk coast, and you see this building behind me. This used to be a public loo, but now it's a rather nice house with a pretty good view of the sea. In fact, the legacy of the Victorians shaping the look of Sheringham is still very obvious today. But there's one thing the Victorians left behind, which is a very unlikely byproduct of their legacy. It's getting people really excited. It's a new way to explore our coast, and it's attracting marine life. It's a sewage pipe. Yeah, you heard me right. It's a disused Victorian sewage pipe, and it's just out there. And we're going to show you what is down there. Rob Spray and Dawn Watson are no strangers to what lies beneath the North Sea off our coastline. They've been diving here for years and brought the Chalk Reef off Cromer to the world's attention.
It's all very well saying we can dive in all our fancy gear, the funny training to go out and explore the sea underwater, but you don't need all that. Really, just with a mask and a snorkel, you can find out that Norfolk's beaches are just the start of that whole reef area we've talked about so much. I think people just wouldn't believe just how colourful it is. As you swim along the pipe, you'll see it just sort of waving in verdant seaweed, sort of deep reds, strong greens, then there's the oranges of the sponges, the little sort of corkwing wrasse buzzing around the pipe. There's tens, hundreds of those there, and then the crabs, the lobsters, all the different kinds underneath. Were you amazed when you first saw it?
God, yes. You wouldn't think that a hideous old sort of pipe, basically, would have so much life on it.
Today, they're going to be diving on the sewage pipe again, but this time they're with a team of divers. Now, the reason they're doing this isn't just for a bit of a jolly to see what's down there. They're actually doing a safety survey to make it safe for you and me. They want to make this the first snorkel trail in the North Sea.
We're checking for safety. The old pipework itself is pretty safe, but it's knocked into place with iron pins. They can corrode and become sharp, and we're seeing what the scale of the job is to make them safe.
While they're down there, up on the land, I'm meeting Hilary Cox from the local council.
I think what's good about a snorkel trail is that not everybody wants to dive, not everybody can dive, but the majority of people can snorkel. You've just got to have your mask on and look down, and doesn't it look different underwater when you actually look down and see what there is down there?
Will you be diving on the new snorkel trail?
I will be. I think, you know, if you're going to promote something, you should set an example and do it.
There's a snorkel trail in the southwest which has proved very popular, but this would be the first on our coast. Meanwhile, Rob is back from assessing the new snorkel trail. What's it like in there, Rob?
It's really good. I mean, it's only early in the season yet, but we can see, 3-4 metres. Can easily see that the pipe's still there in good condition. There's a few sharp pins which we'll cap. We'll come back and do that. And there's plenty of ways we can mark it up so people can find it. That's the thing for snorkelers. Anybody who can swim can snorkel this trail. It's ever so shallow to start with, barely 3 feet deep. Goes a bit deeper if you're sort of training up or want to be a bit more ambitious, and you'll see all of the famous wildlife, the crabs, the lobsters, lots of fish. It's just a lovely thing that's just on the edge of the beach.
Well, look, I've been itching to see this for myself, and finally the day has come when I get to go down and look at this snorkel trail and look at the water. Look how clear it is, so the visibility down there should be good. We've got this to get some footage. Mask on, snorkel in.
Rob and Dawn weren't exaggerating. It's stunning down here. And even though I've already seen some of what they've filmed, seeing it for myself is wonderful.
You get down, you start to follow it along. It obviously tracks all the way back to the beach, but there's so much life around it. It's just this sort of a man-made reef under the water. It's quite deep.
There can be strong currents around here, so don't try this unless you are a good swimmer, but it's already attracting visitors.
What do you think of that then?
Oh,
getting
that's
down there?
fantastic. What an experience. You just wouldn't believe it. And, you know, on the North Norfolk coast, to be able to go down and see so clearly.
Yeah.
And there's some lovely colours down there, purples and creams and yellows.
And you start to go along the pipe, and you start to follow it, and you want to go further, don't you?
Oh, you just want to go on forever, straight the way through to the beach. I mean, it's just incredible that it's here.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And obviously, people on the beach having a good time, but they don't realise just what...
Oh, we're having the best time. We're
Just what-
definitely having the best time.
But it's under
today.
people's noses, isn't it? It's right here.
Well, I didn't realise this until Dawn and Rob told me about it. I thought, yes, I must come. Try it for myself.
And you'll be back.
I certainly will be back.
And it's not just Sheringham that's good for exploring. Rob and Dawn think that Clyde next to the sea would also make a great location to go snorkeling. Patrick McDaniel spends all his spare time in the North Sea, and he's jumping off his boat to come for a chat with me.
Well, Patrick, that's quite an entrance. Not many people have arrived for an interview with me like that before, but you seem to spend most of your time in the North Sea.
I love it. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I really enjoy it. It's just a beautiful environment to be in, and it's so special because this part of the coast is relatively unspoiled. This wreck, you know, when it's really clear, you've got fantastic life, and it's relatively shallow, so it's only sort of 8 to 10 feet. Now it will be about 10 foot to the bottom, and there's crabs, there's lobsters, there's fish, there's all sorts.
To the sea. Well, I've heard a lot about this old wreck, and I've always seen it sticking out of the water. It's time to check it out for myself. So maybe next year, when you're planning a trip to the seaside and the water's clear enough, you could find yourself exploring the first snorkel trail of the North Sea. I wonder what the Victorians would have made of that.
Well, I'm not sure I want to be snorkeling out there today, but what a way to explore what is down there. Well, Inside Out isn't on next Monday. We're actually on the Friday of that week, just to be different. But in the meantime, if you want to get in touch with me, I'm on Twitter at David_InsideOut, or send me an email, david.whiteley@bbc.co.uk. But from the North Norfolk coast, bye-bye.